And we're live. Hello and welcome to the 115th weekly episode of Hex Therapy Live. I'm your host, Maddie ALLin. I've got a great show for you tonight. I'm going to be talking about what's up with the SEC, talking about banning staking. Spoiler alert, I think Hex is going to be okay. What's up with these stories of crypto addiction? I've got one story to bring to you that'll be interesting, and then we'll see what else we get into. So thanks for being here. Hit the like and subscribe button, everybody. Welcome.
It's from Maddie ALLin of Hex Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research.
Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome.
There's nothing that a human being could do better than try and heal his fellow man.
Maddie ALLin's got that covered. Does emotional, feel good, mind management, emotion stuff like as his gig because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like he helps heal people.
Oh yeah, the other thing I'm going to talk about is the second mass Hex Meetup that I'm going to be putting on. A lot of the clips that you saw in the introduction there. Shout out to Back to the Future. Those were taken at the last Hex conference that I hosted in Las Vegas, and then others were taken at the Bitcoin conference in Miami. And so that's where the Hex Meetup is going to take place this coming May 18th through 20th. So if you haven't gotten over there, a lot of the tickets are already selling out. And so go to hexpomiami.com and that'll take you to my blog entry where you can find out more. So Melv Tony is saying that the price of Hex has pulled back to 4.3 cents for now. And that was kind of expected because we had gone on a run since the online Hex conference I hosted a month ago. We had been down at 1.7 cents. We had been down at 2.3 cents. And then ripped all the way as high as 5.5 cents and then fell back down now to 4.3 cents. So that's pretty much how these markets go. And the situation of Hex having low liquidity at this moment is also going to lead to more volatility, which in the short term is a feature, not a bug. And people can, read more into that as they will. Hey, Art, good to see you there. Thanks for being a member of the channel and appreciate you there. We want to stake it. Yeah, stake it till you make it. And, I will also give an update tonight on Timepays me because there's lots of good stuff happening that I have in the pipeline. So I guess briefly, the update on Timepays me is that today I got to play around with the private testnet with the user interface that's been developed to create a vault using a recovery address. So we already have the blockchain code written, but now we're making sure that we have all the user interface details put together in order for people to utilize what's written in the blockchain code. So that's really exciting that today was the first day I was able to create a smart vault using a recovery address that has a separate seed phrase. And so that then the next step is for the user interface to integrate the recovery method of actually, let's say if you got hacked, you would be able to steal the vault that contains your crypto with your time locks in it. You'd be able to steal it back from a hacker. So that's pretty cool. So lots of good stuff there. And it looks like there's a couple of people who are saying it's their first time catching me live. So welcome. I do not have my studio lights in front of me today, so I'm almost glitching out in the picture, but that's kind of, it's kind of like I'm time traveling and I've been in my DeLorean to bring you the good news that sure enough, the Hex that people sent to their future self made it there in most cases. So that's pretty cool. And shout out to everybody else who's here watching live and in the replay. You may tell that I don't always like put the clickbait in. I don't always make topics that are only going to be popular, because I don't care so much about views as I do. I care about trying to make a difference, trying to educate people, and so last week I did a video on 5 reasons to not trade, and it still 800 people tuned in and watched it. But that's okay. It's fine that that the views went down by 50%. The other thing that has been going on lately that has led to less YouTube views was the epic Twitter Spaces that Tangent held, and that went for 76 hours straight. And then they did a couple hours after that, after it gotten rugged. But Tangent was in there doing a 76-hour Twitter Spaces for 3 days straight, watching the price of Hex go from 4.5 cents all the way back down to 3.8, and then rocketing up past 5 cents, which was his target. So that was really enjoyable. And I think people just had a lot of fatigue of being able to listen to Hex content for 3 days straight. There were tons of awesome speakers in there. And I'm not going to lie. For me, I am really tired this week because I was listening to hours and hours and hours of people talking in the Twitter Spaces. I even talked for hours and hours in there because it was such a good time. So definitely check that out. What day and where is the Hex Con Miami going to be? Where can tickets be bought? You can get tickets. You really go to the blog and read about what you're actually getting so that you can have your expectations right. And then, and so that blog is maddieallen.medium.com. It's my first post. And normally I just send people to hexpomiami.com, but some people said it didn't work in their browser. So I'm looking into that. But for now, that's where it is. And I already hold the world record for the largest Hex meetup of all time. I had it at my first mass Hex meetup. 369 people paid for tickets and attended. And then the Highest of Stakes documentary crew stole the title from me temporarily at Hex's 2nd birthday. And then I stole it back a few months later at hexpo.vegas, where I had 555 people show up, and we had a 4-day conference there. This time, I don't care if I set the world record for the largest Hex meetup. I just want everybody to have a great time. And so that's why I planned it to take place at the Bitcoin conference. So we'll have our own events, and then we'll have some events inside the Bitcoin conference and outside. So that'll be really cool to see. It's going to be May 18th through 20th, and it'll be Miami Beach. And already tons of people have signed up for it, and I'm really excited. So that'll be really cool. Let me see. So, I mean, it's a big nothing burger with the SEC, in my opinion, when it comes to them cracking down on staking, in the sense that Hex is decentralized staking, and they didn't say anything about that in the 3-minute video that I saw Gary Gensler posted today that was talking about staking. Basically, what Gary Gensler is talking about in his video is all the FTXs that collapsed, all the centralized middlemen. They want to crack down on that because, that's been a problem where people were sending their money to try to earn yield to a centralized middleman. Now in Hex, you don't send your money anywhere. You burn it in the Hex smart contract, and then you redeem it yourself. And there's no pool. There's no pool involved, which is another thing that Gensler pointed to. Now, look, the wording that, that Coinbase was using, the wording that these other politicians were using to scare the pants off, the FOMO pants off of everybody in crypto, the wording that they were using was much more broad. They were saying all staking, we're coming for you, and this and that. And so I think, that's a little bit more broad than what they really wrote out in their post from the SEC where they posted it on their website, or from the head of the SEC where they made a video. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't need to like draw a line in the sand, but look, I'm not fighting for centralized exchanges to be able to hold on to your coins and give you yield that way as an unregistered security where they can just run off with the money at any time. We know that trustless yield is superior. So look, it's not, in my opinion, it's not really our job to, to promote centralized middleman APY in crypto, because the whole point of crypto being invented was to eliminate middlemen. And that's the specific type of APY and the specific type of staking that the SEC appears to be going after in this case. Now, if the SEC, is having a problem with Hex, I would love to hear what it is. And maybe someday we will hear what the issue is that they see. But as far as I know, there is no leg of the Howey test that Hex meets, because it's not a company and it's decentralized and it's a smart contract and it's just free speech on the internet. Simple as that. So there you go. That's my take on the big news today about all that. Our story from the thumbnail has to do with you know what? Let me see if I can change this to a reader view so I don't have a bunch of random advertisements on here. This is not a sponsored channel. So just because there's a news article doesn't mean that we need to be promoting whatever they're promoting. Let me see, reader view. There we go. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Now I'm going to share my screen here. There we go. So crypto addiction, what gives? Look, a lot of people were experiencing touches of crypto addiction whenever they were listening to Twitter Spaces for 72 hours straight. Look, that's one kind of crypto addiction. I was an addiction therapist, and so I worked with people who had substance abuse addiction. And so it's a spectrum, and it's a question of, is your behavior is it sustainable? Is it interfering with your daily functioning? Is it interfering with your relationships and that sort of thing? A lot of people say day trading is an enemy of their well-being. And so I speak out against that, even if it's unpopular. Now, this is an article somebody sent me that I thought was particularly interesting and could be a good topic for my show tonight. The article, for those of you just listening, on audio, says luxury rehab centers now offer therapy for crypto addiction 5 days ago. And it says, and now it's giving an example of somebody who was getting into day trading. And this person's name is Don in the story. And he was pouring up to $200,000 every week into cryptocurrency trades. And his sleep was disturbed, and he'd be up in the wee hours of the night monitoring the price and his portfolio balance. He'd be breaking into sweats if he would have to get on a long haul flight, because he wouldn't be able to access the internet. Most flights that I've been on actually do have the internet, so not sure if that part of the story really adds up, but there we go. Don works in a company that processes central bank digital currency transactions. He did not want to use his real name. Well, there you go. Apparently they falsified the part about him not having internet on the airplane. He says he went on a downward spiral in the middle of 2022, and that's when he decided to seek help. Well, that's a real thing, and help is an important part of something. Not everybody's ready to get help, and I always commend people when they are. He went to one of these luxury rehab centers, some of which are good and some of which are kind of criminal enterprises, actually. A lot of the stuff in South Florida got slammed by the Department of Health and Human Services because they were being super fraudulent with their substance abuse addiction treatment. But here, this is neither here nor there when it comes to this. But I guess he had a private villa. He was attended to by his own butler and chef. And it only cost him $7,500 $75,000, which is less than he was losing every week in crypto. There you go. Helped him wean off crypto. There's a frenzy in crypto. Most of the rehab centers the BBC has found appear to be of the Lux variety, and also offer treatments for other addictions, narcotics, alcohol and eating disorders. And a lot of people be interested just to know that that you don't have to be at this level of losing for it to impact your life. And so it's always good to catch it early, because when you catch an addiction early, that's when you can have an early intervention. When you have an early intervention, that makes it much more manageable to treat, whether you're getting self-help, you're talking to an addiction counselor. And this is not therapy advice here. The name of the show is just, kind of ironic and all that. But the point is that people, if you need help, you need to go, to your actual treatment center. But I do agree, because I have studied the neuroscience side of addiction, that it can be very similar to other addictions. And that's, well, it's good news in a way, because that means that a lot of the skills that people have figured out are helpful. A lot of the behavioral treatments, if you will, for other addictions can be helpful for people suffering from crypto addiction. But really, the biggest question you can ask yourself is how can you catch it early, and how can you get yourself on the right path? So basically introducing more healthy behaviors, and maybe placing restrictions on your phone for how often you can check the price, how often you can open certain apps, and that sort of thing is something that's out there, that's available to people. Timepays Me is something that I'm developing that allows people to time lock their money so that they aren't tempted to be day trading, that sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. But when it comes to crypto addiction, currently, one of the strategies that people would do is to find a support group, is to have a dedicated counselor that they can meet with individually. It would be to identify triggers, and improve self-care habits, get sleep, exercise, nutrition, all that good kind of stuff that's going to improve the functioning of your prefrontal cortex. And another thing that helps with your prefrontal cortex functioning and your inhibitory control and decision making and all this good kind of stuff is taking your omega-369. And that's something we talked about last week, I think. It's a biopsychosocial disease, and so it requires a biopsychosocial intervention. And there are medications for addiction. There are 3 in particular that seem to help in different ways. Individual and group psychotherapy can be used, changing habits and environments, implementing healthier replacement activities, all good kind of stuff. The cost is not always justified. Experts like her argue that it's akin to gambling and should be treated as such. They are making money off desperate people, said somebody else. Whether you're addicted to trading crypto, betting on sports, playing the lottery, your symptoms and treatment will largely be the same. Like other addictions, treatment for crypto addiction should begin with abstinence and managing withdrawal symptoms, which could include managing anxiety, irritability, and insomnia. No crypto trading or viewing for at least 4 weeks, which gives the brain a chance to reset reward pathways. The withdrawal symptoms are usually time limited and can be managed away with emotional support and reassurance that they will eventually go away. In the long run, treatment would also include healthier options for financial investment. Well, and then they got an article about NFTs there. There aren't specific certifications yet for treating crypto addiction. Most of the therapists and rehab center executives that the BBC spoke to describe themselves as certified counselors for mental health and a variety of other addictions, from alcohol to substance abuse, gaming, and gambling. Then they say that it's similar to gambling, crypto addiction, that is, and it's more addictive. That's probably subjective. A bunch of non-scientific opinions that they're giving there. Yeah. So, yeah, this is all, they're gonna give a couple more horror stories of like people who lost, 6 figures gambling. The moral of the story is that you shouldn't play with money that you need in the short term. You should, take care of yourself and not obsess over something that doesn't need to be obsessed over. The whole point, one of the whole design intentions of Hex was to stop people from trading. And that's why, for example, the time locking only happens on a daily basis. That's when the day rolls over to the next day. I mean, that was done for other reasons as well. But Richard Hart, the founder of Hex, has cited that he did not want to make something that had an endless grind to it. And I think a lot of people in the Hex community, they participate in the community, they participate in building, maybe they get addicted to learning, which is a little bit different than day trading. And there certainly are the day traders out there in the Hex community, just like there is with any crypto. But I think in general, the community discourages gambling and day trading. And you see that in the fact that we're all pointing out that there is high volatility in crypto, that crypto does go down 95%, that it can go down more than you expect it to in the short term, that, all markets are unpredictable and all that good kind of stuff. So Come Get Me Aliens says, I find this technology and community so intoxicating, literally changed the course of my life. I was heading straight. Now I'm heading up and to the right. There you go. Carl says, I'm addicted to stacking and hodling. I don't trade in a degen fashion these days. I've cut down to longer term timeframes and bots. Hey, congratulations. That's awesome. I have a Hex content watching and learning addiction. Yeah. Hex is the greatest of all time. Watching from Chicago. Welcome. Good evening. Academaciated. Yeah. So basically, we're starting to see, this is a bear market still. We might be near the end of the bear market, but this is the kind of thing that you see on red days and that you pay attention to in a bear market is, people are addicted to crypto, and certainly some people are, but it's, these stories here aren't really crypto specific in a sense. You also see regulation and all that good kind of stuff. So I would still stress, the big idea here in Hex is time locking to pay your future self and to play long-term games with long-term people. You're always going to have traders in the short term. That's part of what makes markets go up and down. But at the end of the day, Hex provides a mechanism that most don't. Time locking to send money to your future self is pretty cool. It's pretty cool that it's done in a way that does not pool people's money together. That's very cool to me. So yeah, there you go. Somebody's watching from Thailand. Welcome. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say on the topic of crypto addiction. Now, people are still wondering, when is Pulse Chain going to come out and what's going on there? I did read a couple updates on Twitter today. It seems like the syncing progress of the Block Explorer and related infrastructure seems to have been put on pause. And the reason for that is because it got out of sync. And I saw people reporting that it was like within 20,000 blocks of being done out of millions, and that it was just paused because there was a bug that they had to work out. So that's a pretty normal thing. That may have been one of the reasons why a pullback occurred. I think people were predicting a pullback in the Hex price anyway, but there are people waiting with bated breath to see when Pulse Chain will launch. And that's, I think a lot of us are. I know somebody who ended a 2-year stake the other day, and it was like $50 or $60 each stake in Ethereum gas fees just to end a stake. So Pulse Chain is needed more than ever to give us low fees, low transaction fees, and to give us all the other benefits that are coming with Pulse Chain, like a decentralized exchange, a Uniswap fork that has fee burning built in and is built into the layer 1 solution. So all this stuff is really exciting to me still, and I'm pumped about it. So hey, we're at about 25 minutes here. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up if nobody has any questions here. How long did we go? How long did we go on Game Theory Gang on Tuesday night? We had a great episode on Game Theory Gang. You should definitely check it out if you haven't watched the Tuesday night episode. I know a lot of people were burnt out from the Twitter Spaces, so make sure to check out that episode from Tuesday. Let's see. Other than that, get your tickets for hexpomiami.com. The people who get tickets early, they're more likely to get the premium merch. And I mean it. It's going to be way better merch for the people who buy their tickets early. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And let's see. As always, what do I say at the end? Stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
It's from Maddie ALLin of Hex Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research.
Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome.
There's nothing that a human being can do better than try and heal his fellow man.
Maddie ALLin's got that covered. Does emotional, feel good, mind management, emotion stuff like as his gig, because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like, he helps heal people.